Oh, it's been exciting. What I like about MIPIM is I have more quality time with people than I do otherwise. Be at other conferences where people have less time. For example, I had a coffee with the managing director of one of my major clients on Tuesday, 45 minutes with the lady. Within the course of the year, I might otherwise have 15, 20 minutes on the phone, bits and pieces. A great conversation talking about the relationship that's gone back 6 years now, some of the people in her organization that we work with, some of the new people in my team that they've been working with. That's the sort of quality time that people come here, they're relaxed, and it's enjoyable. People set aside a meaningful amount of time for a meeting. They honor those meetings, and it's great. There's also other types of things where for some clients that we might have done a deal or a deal didn't go, you keep in touch. There's also a sort of a spin-off effect. I mean, a New York law firm last year, I met one of the fellows there. We had a cup of coffee. He was telling me all about MIPIM because last year it was the first year I was here. And a really nice fellow. I thought of all the 30 meetings I did last year in 3 days, I would have thought that would be about number 27 in terms of probabilities of anything coming of it. 3 months later, I got a phone call from a Cleveland in-house counsel, wanted to expand his business into Canada, told me his Cleveland law firm got in touch with the New York office. New York office said, if it's real estate in Canada, get in touch with Jim Hilton. That came out of having that cup of coffee last year. And so someone was saying, well, what is your return on investment coming to MIPIM? Well, the return on investment just out of that one mandate can pay for 5 trips to MIPIM. So to me, it was a very worthwhile experience coming here. I also meet up with a number of Canadians that I don't often have a lot of time, or they don't have a lot of time to meet, but we're here together. You shoot the breeze with people, you introduce some of the service providers that I work with in Canada to some of my European clients, and we're all helping each other. It's a very positive experience. So I'm a big fan of MIPIM. We've gone to Expo Real for the last 6 or 7 years, and that's very good also. But there's nothing like this in North America from what I can see. And people are here wanting to do business, but in a relaxed manner. And with the Europeans, what I'm finding more and more, and I spend a lot of my time on European business, they want to get to know you as an individual and build up a relationship, and then they will send you some business. But you've got a huge strategic advantage if someone knows who you are, they've met you, rather than someone who is referred to by an accountant or a broker. The people like to do business with people they've met. So coming here, it's an investment, yes, but it's a very good long-term investment in our Blake's relationship with our European clients. And we act for many of the German real estate funds that are active in Canada. In fact, last year, of the 2 largest deals that were done in Canada, one was DECA that bought the Bentall 5 building. We did that. The other was Can-Am's Bell Nuns Island project. Again, we acted for Can-Am on that. So these relationships are paying off, and we're also finding that a number of the German banks are following their German real estate fund clients into Canada because the rules have now changed in the last few years with withholding tax, so they can now lend easily into Canada. So, for example, LBBW did a loan on Stampede Station in Calgary that was following their customer on that deal. We acted for LBBW on that. But it's another example of the relationships that we have built up coming to MIPIM and other European forums, get those mandates that we otherwise would not have got. Canada is definitely a good news story in the eyes of Europe. We've got stable government, we've got banking system that has weathered the storm. The conservatism there has paid off. Boring is good. When the Europeans look at Canada, it is a very safe place to invest. They very much like the transparency, the openness in our market. For example, when you buy property in Canada, you have to pay land transfer tax. You have to declare what was your purchase price. That information is public knowledge. So therefore, a foreign investor knows what is the true price that people are paying. The real estate market in Canada is actually quite small. Everybody knows one another, and that brings out a much higher level of honesty in doing business, because if you double-cross someone, everybody knows about it, everybody hears about it, and your reputation is tarnished. So again, the Europeans, one of the first questions they asked me, we're thinking of doing a deal with X. What is their reputation? And so they like to know that the Canadian market, there is a very high level of integrity. And Canada is looking very good. They respect the fact that for 9 years we had a budgetary surplus on the federal level. They recognize we're into a deficit now, as is everyone. But they see a stable system where there's honesty, fair dealing, and the pension funds own a lot of the Canadian real estate, but the pension funds have a similar long-term investment strategy to a lot of the, say, German open-ended funds. And so actually they are a very good match in terms of doing joint ventures. This is something I've been talking to people about here today, that the ideal situation, I think, would be for a European investor to, say, be a 50% owner of an office building with a pension fund. Their strategies are identical, and they would be very compatible, and it's a very good way for European investors to get involved in good product. This is one of the challenges that we have right now, is that there's a number of people all chasing not too much product. And so I've been encouraging people to think about doing such joint ventures. Now, some investors, they just don't want to be involved. They want to have 100% control, and that's fine philosophically. But for years I've acted for Canadian pension funds who have done joint ventures with developers, and it's worked very, very well. And a lot of the Canadian pension funds have owned, real estate companies. Say Oxford is owned by OMERS. Well, they have an excellent management platform there to manage these properties. That would be an ideal relationship for a German open-ended fund to do a joint venture with them, because the management is there. The Canadian pension fund has got 50% interest in the property, and they are going to have an interest that's aligned with the other 50% from the German investor. But Canada is very much a good news story right now. It's not spectacular returns, but after people in Germany have put their money in the banks, which is guaranteed by the government, and getting, a 0.1% return, it's very boring after a while. 7% looks very good. So we're seeing a lot of interest in Canada, and so I think that's a good thing for all of us in the Canadian real estate industry to see that interest.